The dog starts growling at a man no one else can see. Not barking, not warning, just a low, steady vibration deep in his chest, like he's recognizing something that doesn't belong. Ethan Walker freezes in the doorway, keys still in his hand, the late afternoon light cutting across the floor in long, thin blades. Rex stands in the middle of the living room, body rigid, ears forward, eyes locked on the empty corner near the hallway. There's nothing there. No movement. No shadow. Just peeling paint and silence. But Rex doesn't blink. And then, he takes one slow step back. Like something stepped forward first. Ethan exhales, shaky, trying to shake it off. "Rex," he mutters, voice rough from disuse. The name hangs in the air like it doesn't belong anymore. The dog doesn't respond. Doesn't wag. Doesn't even look at him. That's when Ethan notices the second thing. The floor. Dirt. Fresh. Dark against the pale wood. A trail. Leading from the back door to that same empty corner. Ethan's stomach tightens. He hadn't been outside yet. The door was still locked when he came in. He knows that. He checked it twice. His training never left him. So where did the dirt come from? Rex lets out another low growl. Not louder. Just deeper. Like it's coming from somewhere older than sound. Ethan steps inside, slowly closing the door behind him. The click echoes too loud. Everything feels too loud. His boots scrape against the floor as he moves forward, following the trail with his eyes. It's uneven. Not footprints. Not exactly. More like something dragged. Or something buried and brought back. "Easy, boy," Ethan says, but the words feel hollow. Rex finally moves. One step. Then another. Not toward Ethan. Toward the corner. Toward nothing. He lowers his head, nose twitching, muscles tight under his coat. And then he stops. Completely still. Ethan feels it before he understands it. That pressure. That quiet shift in the air. The kind that used to come right before everything went wrong. He hasn't felt it since Afghanistan. Not like this. Not this sharp. Not this real. His chest tightens. His fingers twitch. Somewhere in the back of his mind, something is already screaming. Turn around. Leave. But he doesn't. He steps closer instead. One foot. Then the next. The dirt trail ends just inches from the wall. No hole. No break in the floor. Just a small mound. Barely noticeable unless you're looking for it. Ethan kneels slowly, the old ache in his knee flaring as he lowers himself. His hand hovers over the dirt. Hesitates. Rex makes a sound. Not a bark. Not a whine. Something in between. Urgent. But quiet. Ethan swallows hard. Then presses his fingers into the soil. It's still damp. Cold. Like it hasn't been there long. He digs. Not thinking. Just moving. The dirt gives way too easily. Loose. Recently disturbed. His breath shortens. Each handful comes faster. Rougher. Until his fingers hit something solid. Metal. He stops. Just for a second. Like his body knows before his mind does. Rex steps closer now. Right beside him. Silent. Watching. Ethan brushes away the remaining dirt. And there it is. A dog tag. Scratched. Stained. The chain snapped. He doesn't pick it up right away. He just stares at it. Like it might disappear if he breathes too hard. Rex lowers his head beside him. Close enough that Ethan can feel the warmth of his breath against his wrist. The dog doesn't touch it. Doesn't need to. He already knows. Ethan finally reaches down. His fingers tremble as he lifts the tag from the dirt. It's heavier than it should be. Or maybe his hand is weaker. He turns it slowly. And the moment the name catches the light, everything inside him stops. Not slows. Stops. Because that name wasn't supposed to come back with him. And Rex had just found it. The name burns before he even reads it out loud. Not because of what it says, but because of what it should not be doing here. Ethan's hand tightens around the tag, the thin chain dangling like something unfinished. His breath slows, not calmer, just heavier, like the air itself has thickened. Rex does not move. Still beside him. Still watching. Not the tag. Not Ethan. That same empty corner. Ethan swallows and forces his eyes down to the metal. The letters are scratched, but readable. Daniel Cross. The edges are worn. Not new damage. Old. Field worn. Carried through dust and heat and time. Ethan's jaw tightens. That is not possible, he whispers, but the words sound rehearsed, like something he has been telling himself for a long time. His thumb drags across the surface. There is something else. A second indentation beneath the name. Smaller. Fainter. Not regulation. Not standard. He tilts the tag toward the fading light. Coordinates. Carved in by hand. Not machine stamped. Not official. Numbers that do not belong there. His pulse spikes. Because he knows those numbers. Not exactly, but close enough. Close enough to feel it in his bones. A place. A ridge. A stretch of land where maps stopped matching and instincts took over. Rex exhales sharply. The sound pulls Ethan back into the room. He looks at the dog. Really looks this time. The stiffness. The focus. The way Rex is not reacting to the past, but to something present. Something here. Now. What are you seeing? Ethan asks, but his voice comes out quieter than he expects. Rex shifts his weight. One step forward. Then stops again. Head slightly tilted. Listening. Ethan hears it then. Not a sound exactly. More like the absence of one. The house has gone too still. No distant traffic. No wind against the siding. Even the refrigerator hum has faded into nothing. Silence that feels placed. Intentional. Ethan pushes himself up slowly, the tag still in his hand. His knee protests, but he ignores it. His eyes scan the room. Everything is where it should be. Couch. Table. Window. Nothing out of place. Except for one thing. The wall. That corner. There is a faint mark now. A smudge that was not there before. Darker than the surrounding paint. Almost like something brushed against it. Recently. Ethan steps closer. Each movement measured. Controlled. The way he used to clear rooms. Rex stays behind him now. Not leading. Not following. Just watching. The shift is subtle, but it matters. Ethan reaches out and touches the wall. The paint is cold. Slightly damp. He pulls his hand back and looks at his fingers. Gray residue. Fine. Like dust. But not from the house. Not from anything recent. His stomach tightens again. He turns back toward the floor. The disturbed dirt. The place where the tag was buried. Something catches his eye. Just off to the side. Smaller than the tag. Half hidden beneath the loose soil. He kneels again, slower this time. Careful. His fingers brush it free. A fragment. Cloth. Faded. Military issue pattern, but torn. Frayed at the edges like it had been pulled apart, not cut. Ethan freezes. Because he recognizes this too. Not from memory. From feeling. From the weight of it. The kind of thing you do not forget because you chose it. He brings it closer. There is stitching along one edge. Dark thread. Hand done. Not regulation. Initials. DC. His breath catches. No. The word barely forms. Rex suddenly steps forward. Fast this time. Not aggressive. Urgent. He nudges Ethan's hand with his nose. Once. Then again. Harder. Ethan looks at him. Confused. What? Rex turns sharply and moves toward the hallway. Stops. Looks back. Waits. Not a request. A command. Ethan hesitates. Every instinct telling him to stay. To keep the past where it belongs. Buried. But the tag is still warm in his hand. The numbers carved into it pulsing in his mind. And the cloth. The initials. They should not be here. None of this should be here. That is the problem. That is the reason he stands. Slowly. Reluctantly. And follows. Rex moves ahead. Each step deliberate. Leading him deeper into the house that suddenly does not feel like his anymore. Halfway down the hallway, Rex stops again. This time his body lowers slightly. Not fear. Not exactly. Recognition. Ethan steps beside him. And that is when he sees it. The door at the end of the hall. Closed. It was open when he walked in. He is sure of it. He remembers the light from the back window stretching across the floor. Now there is nothing. Just a thin line of shadow beneath the door. And something else. A faint trail. Not dirt this time. Something darker. Thinner. Leading from the base of the door, back toward them. Ethan's grip tightens around the dog tag. The metal presses into his palm. Rex lets out a low, steady breath. Not a growl. Not yet. Just waiting. The kind of waiting that comes before truth. The door was not just closed. It felt sealed. Ethan stops a few feet away, his breathing shallow now, uneven, like his body is. Already reacting to something his mind has not caught up to yet. Rex lowers himself further, shoulders tense, eyes fixed on the thin line of shadow beneath the door. That line is shifting. Not visibly. Not in a way most people would notice. But it is not still. And that is enough. Ethan feels it again. That pressure. The same one from before. Only stronger now. Closer. He glances at the dog tag still clutched in his hand, the metal pressing harder into his skin as if it is warming with every second. The numbers carved into it flash through his mind again. Coordinates. A place he has not allowed himself to think about in years. A place he walked away from. His jaw tightens. This does not make sense, he whispers, but even he does not believe it anymore. Rex suddenly lets out a sharp breath. Not loud, but urgent. He shifts forward, then stops again, waiting. Always waiting for Ethan to catch up. Ethan steps closer to the door. One step, then another. The floor creaks under his weight, the sound louder than it should be. Everything is louder now. His heartbeat, his breath, even the silence feels louder. He reaches out slowly. His hand hovers just inches from the doorknob. And then he freezes. Because the metal knob is already turning. Not fully, just a slight movement. Enough to catch the light. Enough to be wrong. Ethan jerks his hand back. His pulse spikes hard now. Fast. Too fast. Rex growls. This time louder. Not deep and steady. Sharper. Warning. Ethan takes a step back. His instincts are screaming at him now. This is not a memory. This is not in his head. Something is happening. Right now, the knob stops moving. The house goes still again. Completely still. And then a sound comes from the other side of the door. Soft. Faint. Almost like a breath. Or a whisper that never fully forms. Ethan feels his chest tighten. Something pulling at him from inside. Not fear exactly. Something heavier. Something tied to that name still burning in his hand. Daniel Cross. He should not be here. None of this should be here. And yet it is. Rex steps forward again, placing himself between Ethan and the door now. Not blocking. Not protecting. Just positioning. Like he has done this before. Like he knows what comes next. Ethan swallows hard. His throat dry. His voice barely there. Rex, what is in there? The question hangs in the air, unanswered. The kind of question that does not echo. It just sinks. The faint line beneath the door darkens slightly. Not spreading. Not moving. Just deepening. Like something is standing closer on the other side. Ethan's hand tightens into a fist around the tag. His breathing gets shorter. Faster. He knows this feeling. The seconds before something changes. The moment before a decision that cannot be undone. And then it hits him. Not the sound. Not the movement. The realization. The coordinates on the tag. The cloth. The initials. The dirt. They are not random. They are leading somewhere. Or worse. Leading back. His eyes flick to Rex. The dog is not looking at the door anymore. He is looking at Ethan. Direct. Unblinking. Waiting. There is no confusion in his eyes. No fear. Just certainty. And something else. Expectation. Ethan feels it settle in his chest like weight. This is not about what is behind the door. This is about what he has not faced. Not yet. Not fully. His hand moves again. Slower this time. More deliberate. He reaches for the knob. His fingers wrap around the cold metal. It does not move. Not yet. He hesitates. Just for a second. Because once he opens it, there is no closing it again. Rex lets out one low breath beside him. Not a warning. Not a command. Just presence. Ethan exhales. Tight. Controlled. And then he turns the handle. The door opens without resistance. Not slow. Not sudden. Just enough to feel like it was waiting. Ethan does not step in right away. He stands there, hands still on the knob, eyes fixed on the space beyond. The room is familiar. Too familiar. Same narrow bed. Same desk against the far wall. Same window, half covered by blinds that never quite closed all the way. But something is wrong. The air feels colder. Not temperature. Something deeper. Like the room has been holding its breath for a long time. Rex does not enter either. He stays at the threshold, body angled, watching both Ethan and the room at once. That is new. Ethan notices it. The hesitation. The caution. Rex used to move first. Always. Into buildings. Into danger. Into anything unknown. But not now. Ethan steps forward. One foot across the threshold. Then the other. The floor inside does not creak. It absorbs the sound. Too quiet. He scans the room slowly. Nothing is out of place. No broken objects. No signs of entry. Just stillness. And then he sees it. On the desk. A notebook. Closed. Centered. Perfectly aligned with the edge, like someone placed it there with intention. Ethan stops. His chest tightens again. Because he does not own a notebook like that. Not anymore. Not since before. He moves closer. Each step measured. Controlled. His hand lifts, hovering over the cover. He does not want to touch it. Not yet. Rex lets out a soft sound behind him. Not a growl. Not a warning. Something uncertain. Ethan glances back. Rex has lowered his head slightly. eyes fixed on the notebook now. Not the corners, not the shadows. The notebook. That is when Ethan notices the second detail. There is dust everywhere in the room. Thin, even, untouched, except for one place. The desk. The surface around the notebook is clean, recently disturbed, like something was moved or placed recently. Ethan's throat tightens. He reaches down and opens the cover. The pages inside are not blank. They are filled, handwritten, tight, pressed deep into the paper. He recognizes the writing immediately, not because he wants to, but because it is impossible not to. Daniel's handwriting. Ethan's breath catches. The room seems to tilt slightly, just enough to throw off his balance. He grips the edge of the desk to steady himself. No, he whispers, but the word fades before it finishes. He flips a page, then another. Dates, coordinates, short notes, observations, each one more recent than the last. That is not possible. It should stop. It should end. But it does not. The entries continue. Until today, Ethan freezes, because the last line is still fresh, the ink not fully settled into the paper. As if it was written minutes ago. He leans closer, reads it slowly. He is finally back. The words sit there. Simple, quiet, but they hit harder than anything else. Ethan's hand begins to tremble. Not from fear, from something else, something deeper. Guilt rising, sharp and immediate. Because he knows exactly what that line means, or what it should mean. Behind him, Rex shifts suddenly. A sharp movement, enough to pull Ethan out of the page. Ethan turns, and that is when the rehook hits. The door behind them is no longer open. It is closed, completely. Ethan did not hear it, did not feel it. It is just closed. The hallway light no longer reaches into the room. The air feels heavier now, thicker. Rex steps back from the door, ears pinned slightly, not in fear, but in recognition. He has seen this pattern before. Ethan's heart starts racing again. Faster now. His eyes flick between the notebook and the door. Between past and present. Between what he left behind and what is standing in front of him now. The conflict settles in his chest, heavy and unavoidable. If the writing is real, then Daniel did not disappear the way Ethan believed. If the writing is not real, then something else is creating it. Something that knows. Both options feel worse than the other. He looks down at the page again. At the last line. Then at the blank space beneath it. Waiting. His hand hovers over the pen lying beside the notebook. He does not remember placing it there. He does not remember owning it. But it fits. Too well. The choice forms before he can stop it. Write back. Or walk away. If he writes, he acknowledges it. Invites it. Whatever this is. If he walks away, he leaves it unfinished. Again. Just like before. Rex watches him. Not pushing. Not pulling. Just present. Ethan's breath shakes slightly as he lowers his hand toward the pen. The question forms in his mind, louder than anything else. If he answers, who answers back? The pen is heavier than it should be. Ethan does not remember picking it up, but it is already in his hand, balanced between his fingers like something familiar. The tip hovers over the blank space beneath the last line. The ink on Daniel's words still looks fresh, not fully settled, as if time inside this room is moving differently, slower, or maybe not at all. Ethan's breath comes shallow, his chest tight. Rex does not move, but his presence presses. Closer, like a quiet anchor keeping Ethan from drifting too far into whatever this is. This is not real, Ethan whispers, but his voice lacks conviction. Because the handwriting is real. The name is real. The coordinates are real. And the feeling in his chest, that is the most real thing of all. His hand lowers. The pen touches the paper. For a second, nothing happens. Just contact. Just the faint scratch of metal against fiber. Then he writes. Slow. Careful. Like every letter matters more than it should. Daniel. The word sits there, small beneath the weight of everything above it. Ethan pulls the pen back immediately, like he has crossed a line he cannot uncross. The room does not react. Not at first. No sound. No movement. Just that same thick silence pressing in from every direction. Ethan exhales, shaky, almost relieved. Maybe that is it. Maybe this is just a loop of memory. Something his mind is building because it cannot let go. But then the page shifts. Not the whole notebook. Just the paper. A slight ripple, like something beneath it is breathing. Ethan freezes. His fingers tighten around the pen. The ink on his word begins to spread. Not bleeding. Not smearing. spreading, as if it is being pulled deeper into the page. And then, slowly, new lines begin to form. Not written, not drawn, appearing. The same handwriting. Daniel's. Ethan's pulse spikes hard. His vision narrows, locked on the page as the letters emerge one by one. You left before the sun came up. Ethan's breath catches. The room seems to tilt again, but he does not move. He cannot, because the line continues. You said it was the only way. His hand trembles now, the pen slipping slightly between his fingers. Memories press in, not as images, but as weight, as pressure behind his eyes, as something he has been holding back for too long. Rex shifts closer, not touching him, but near enough that Ethan can feel the heat of him, steady and constant. The page fills with more words. I waited where you told me. Ethan shakes his head slightly, a reflex more than a decision. No, that is not. But the sentence completes anyway. You did not come back. The words land heavier than anything else. Not loud, not dramatic, just final. Ethan's knees weaken. He grips the edge of the desk again, knuckles whitening. Because this is the part he never let himself replay fully. The part he reshaped in his mind. Adjusted, just enough to survive it. But the notebook is not adjusting. It is not softening. It is not forgiving. It is just stating the truth, or something that feels close enough to hurt the same way. Ethan looks at Rex, searching for something. Anything. But Rex is not looking at him. He is looking at the page. Still. Focused. As if he already knew what would be written. As if this is not new to him. That thought hits Ethan harder than the words. You knew? He whispers, voice barely there. Rex does not respond. He does not need to. His stillness is answer enough. Ethan turns back to the notebook. The page is still moving. Still writing. But slower now. Like whatever is on the other side is choosing its words carefully. You remember it differently. Ethan's breath falters. Because that is exactly what he has been doing. For years. Shaping it into something he could live with. Something that made sense. Something that did not leave him standing in a place he could not return to. The pen in his hand feels heavier now. Like it is waiting again. Asking. Ethan swallows hard. His throat dry. That is not how it happened, he says, but the words sound weaker now. Not because they are wrong, but because they are not complete. The notebook does not argue. It does not correct him. It just leaves space. One empty line beneath the last sentence. Waiting. The same way it did before. Ethan stares at that space. His reflection faint in the glossy edge of the paper. Split. Unsteady. Because now the choice is different. Before, it was whether to respond. Now, it is what to admit. His grip tightens around the pen again. The question forms, sharp and unavoidable. If he writes the truth, will it finally end this, or make it worse? The pen does not wait this time. It moves before Ethan decides. A single line cuts across the empty space, faster than his breath can follow. Then write it. The words settle deep into the page, darker than the rest, as if pressed with more weight. Ethan's hand trembles. His fingers tighten around the pen until his knuckles pale. Rex shifts closer. Not to stop him. Not to guide him. Just there. Always there. Ethan exhales slowly, but it does not steady him. Nothing does. Because he knows what the truth is. He has always known. He just never said it out loud. Never gave it shape. Never let it exist outside his own mind. His eyes flick to the line above. You remember it differently. And that is when it cracks. Not the room. Not the notebook. Him. The memory does not come back all at once. It seeps in. Quiet. Relentless. The early light before sunrise. The cold air biting through fabric. The silence that felt too complete. Daniel's voice behind him. Not panicked. Not loud. Just certain. You go first. I will follow. Ethan swallows hard. His chest tightens. Because that is not how he has been telling it. Not for years. His hand lowers again. The pen touches the page. This time, there is no hesitation. The words come slower, but heavier. You told me to leave. The sentence looks small on the page. Almost fragile. The notebook does not react. Not immediately. The silence stretches. Thick. Pressing. Then the ink shifts again. Daniel's handwriting returns. Not rushed. Not angry. Calm. I told you to lead. Ethan's breath stutters. His heart hits harder now. Because those are not the same thing. Not even close. His vision blurs slightly as more words form beneath it. You were supposed to come back. Ethan's hand slips from the pen. It falls against the desk with a soft sound that feels too loud. His chest rises sharply. Once. Twice. The air does not feel like enough anymore. Rex steps forward, pressing lightly against Ethan's leg. Not forceful. Just enough to ground him. To keep him here. Ethan shakes his head, but the motion is weak. I thought. His voice breaks. He tries again. I thought you were already gone. The room does not echo. It absorbs the confession. The notebook responds. Immediately this time. You did not check. The words land with precision. Not accusation. Not anger. Just truth. And that is worse. Ethan's knees weaken. He leans harder against the desk, his breath uneven now. Because that is the part he erased. The part he rewrote. The part where he did not stay long enough to be sure. His eyes flick toward Rex. Searching. Because suddenly, something else does not fit. Something that has been wrong since the beginning. Since the moment Rex found the tag. Since the moment he led him here. You were there, Ethan whispers. Not a question. Not yet. Rex lifts his head slowly. Meets his eyes. No hesitation. No confusion. Just that same steady presence. Ethan's voice tightens. You saw it. Rex does not move. But his gaze does not break. And in that stillness, the twist unfolds. Not loud. Not dramatic. Just inevitable. Ethan looks back at the notebook. His hand shakes as he flips a page. Then another. His breath quickens as he scans the earlier entries. The ones he barely noticed before. Short lines. Observations. Notes. Not all written in Daniel's hand. Some are different. Less controlled. Slightly uneven. He leans closer. His eyes narrow. Because the pattern is there now. Clear. Unavoidable. The entries are alternating. Daniel. Then something else. Something that matches the rhythm of breath more than thought. The spacing. The pressure. The way certain lines repeat. Simple. Direct. Instinctive. Ethan's pulse spikes. He flips back to the most recent page. His gaze drops to the last few lines. Daniel's words. Then his own. Then the empty space. And suddenly, it is not empty anymore. New words appear. Slower this time. One letter at a time. Not Daniel's handwriting. Not Ethan's. The strokes are uneven. Almost childlike. But deliberate. Clear. I waited too. Ethan freezes. His throat tightens. His chest stops for just a second. Because he knows that voice. Not in words. But in presence. In loyalty. In the quiet weight that never left him. He turns slowly. Looks at Rex. The dog is already watching him. Not the notebook. Not the room. Him. Always him. Ethan's voice drops to a whisper. Fragile. Rex. The dog does not move. But his eyes hold something new now. Not just recognition. Not just memory. Understanding. Ethan's breath shakes. Because the truth is no longer just about what happened back there. It is about who stayed. Who saw? Who? Never left. His gaze flicks back to the page. The final line finishes forming. You both left something behind. The room falls into silence again. But this time, it is different. Not empty. Full. Heavy with everything Ethan can no longer deny. The words do not fade. They stay on the page, heavy and still, as if they were always meant to be there. Ethan cannot look away. You both left something behind. The sentence sits between him and the past like a line he can no longer step over. His chest tightens, not sharp, not sudden, but deep, like something pulling inward. He exhales slowly, but the air does not reach far enough. Rex does not move. He remains exactly where he is, close enough that Ethan can feel the warmth of him, steady and constant, like a heartbeat that never changed even when everything else did. Ethan's eyes drift from the notebook to Rex again, really seeing him now. Not just the dog who followed him home, not just the partner who obeyed commands, but the one who stayed, the one who watched, the one who remembered everything Ethan tried to forget. You were waiting too. Ethan whispers, the words fragile, like they might break if he says them too loud. Rex's ears shift slightly, not fully forward, not fully back, just enough to show he hears. Always hears. Ethan lowers himself slowly into the chair by the desk, the wood creaking softly beneath him. His hand drifts to Rex's neck, fingers brushing through the thick fur, hesitant at first, then pressing slightly deeper, grounding himself in something real. Rex does not pull away. He leans into it. Just a fraction. Just enough. And that small movement breaks something open inside Ethan. Not loud. Not visible. But final. Because now he understands the weight Rex has been carrying. Not just loyalty. Not just instinct. Memory. The same memory. The same moment. The same choice. Ethan's hand tightens slightly in Rex's fur. Why did you not leave? He asks, voice barely above a breath. It is not a question for the dog. Not really. It is a question for himself. For the part of him that walked away. The notebook shifts again. Soft. Subtle. But enough. Ethan's gaze flicks back to the page. New words begin to form, slower now, as if whatever is writing them is choosing carefully. He could not. Ethan's breath catches, his fingers still against Rex's neck. Because that answer is too simple, too clean. It does not carry the weight he feels. It does not explain the years, the silence, the nights where Rex never left his side, even when Ethan pushed everything else away. Ethan shakes his head slightly. No, that is not it, he murmurs. His voice steadies just a little. Not stronger, just clearer. He stayed. The moment the words leave him, the room seems to shift again. Not physically, but in presence. Like something has aligned. The notebook responds almost immediately. He stayed when you did not. The sentence lands heavier than anything before it. Not because it is new, but because Ethan has just said it himself. Admitted it. The truth no longer belongs to the page alone. It belongs to him now. His chest tightens again, sharper this time. His hand slips from Rex's neck, falling to his side as he leans forward, elbows pressing into his knees. His head lowers slightly. Not in defeat. Not exactly. In recognition. I thought leaving meant surviving. He says quietly, the words uneven but honest. I thought that was the right call. Rex shifts closer again, pressing lightly against Ethan's leg, the contact firm now, undeniable. Not comforting. Not dismissing. Just there. Ethan's voice softens further. But you stayed in that moment. Even after. His fingers curl slightly against his palm, remembering the weight of the tag, the coordinates, the cloth. The pieces that never left. The pieces Rex carried without words. The notebook moves again. Another line forming. He waited for you to remember. Ethan closes his eyes briefly, the sentence settling deep, not as a judgment, but as something almost patient. That is what breaks him. Not accusation. Not anger. Patience. The idea that Rex did not hold the moment against him. That he carried it instead. Quietly. Without demanding anything in return. Ethan's shoulders drop slightly, tension shifting, not gone, but changed. I did not want to remember, he admits, voice low. Because if I did, then I would have to go. Back. The room grows still again, but it is not the same stillness as before. It feels closer now. More focused. The notebook remains open, the last line waiting beneath the others. Not empty. Not demanding. Just present. Rex lifts his head slightly, his gaze steady on Ethan. Not pushing. Not pulling. But there is something in it now that was not there before. Not just understanding. Expectation again. The same quiet expectation from before the door. Ethan looks at him, breath slowing, mind catching up to something his instincts already know. The question forms before he can stop it. Not written, not spoken, but clear. If Rex waited, then what is he waiting for now? The room does not press in anymore. It holds. Quiet. Waiting, but not demanding. Ethan sits there with his hands resting loosely between his knees, the notebook open in front of him, the last line still visible, still breathing in that strange, silent way. Rex remains beside him, steady as ever, but something in the space between them has shifted. Not distance, not closeness, clarity. Ethan exhales slowly, longer this time, like his body is finally catching up to something his mind has been resisting. His eyes drift back to the page. He waited for you to remember. The words no longer feel like an accusation. They feel like an invitation. That is what unsettles him the most. Because invitations require choice. And choices, those are what he has been avoiding. His hand moves again, not toward the pen this time, but toward the dog tag resting on the desk. He picks it up slowly, turning it over in his fingers. The worn metal catches the dim light. The carved coordinates faint but undeniable. A place, not just a memory. A location. Real. Fixed. Waiting. Ethan swallows, his throat tight, but steady enough now to form the thought clearly. You did not bring me here just to remember, he says quietly, not looking at Rex yet. You brought me here because I never went back. The sentence settles into the room, heavier than anything written in the notebook. Rex shifts slightly. Not forward. Not back. Just enough to acknowledge the truth in it. Ethan nods once, almost to himself. I left it unfinished. His gaze lifts slowly, meeting Rex's eyes. There is no judgment there. Never was. Only that same quiet presence. That same unwavering line that never broke, even when Ethan did. The notebook stirs again. One final movement. Ethan looks down. A new line forms, slower than before, as if it is not being written for him anymore, but with him. Then finish it. The words sit there, simple. Final. Not a command. Not a demand. Just the next step. Ethan closes his eyes briefly, the weight of it settling into place. Not crushing. Not overwhelming. Just clear. When he opens them again, something has changed. Not the room. Not the notebook. Him. His shoulders straighten slightly. His breath evens out. The tension that once pulled him backward now leans forward, towards something unfinished but reachable. He stands slowly, the chair shifting softly behind him. The movement feels deliberate, grounded. Rex rises with him immediately, not because he was told to, but because he always does. Ethan reaches down, his hand finding the familiar place behind Rex's ear, fingers pressing gently, this time without hesitation. Rex leans into it, steady and warm. No distance left. Ethan exhales, almost a quiet release. "We are going back," he says, the words low but certain. Not a question, not a hope, a decision. Rex does not bark, does not react loudly, but his posture shifts. Subtle, ready, the way he used to stand before a mission. Ethan turns toward the door. It is still closed, still silent, but it does not feel sealed anymore. He reaches for the handle again, his grip firm this time. No hesitation. When he turns it, the door opens easily. The hallway beyond is exactly as it was before, light stretching across the floor. Still, ordinary, but it does not feel the same. Because Ethan is not the same. He steps out. Rex follows close beside him. As they move away, Ethan glances back once. The room remains unchanged. The notebook still open on the desk. The last line still visible. But there is something else now. Something faint. The earlier lines, they are fading. Not disappearing. Just softening. As if they no longer need to be held in place. Ethan watches for a second longer than he should, then turns away. The hallway feels longer now. Not physically, just in what it carries. Each step forward feels like stepping into something he avoided for too long. The front door waits at the end, slightly open now, letting in a thin line of evening light. Ethan pauses just before it. Not out of fear, out of awareness. Because once he steps outside, this does not stay contained. This becomes real in a different way. The past will not just be remembered. It will be faced. Rex stands beside him, unmoving, patient as always. Ethan rests his hand briefly against the doorframe, grounding himself one last time. Then he steps through. The air outside is cooler. Real. The kind that does not hold memory the same way. It just exists. Rex follows, matching his pace. For a moment, neither of them moves further. They just stand there. Together. The house behind them quiet. The road ahead open. Ethan looks down at the dog tag in his hand, the coordinates catching the last light of the day. A place waiting. A moment unfinished. He closes his hand around it slowly. Not to hide it. To hold it. His voice comes out low, almost to himself. "We should have gone back sooner." Rex does not respond. He does not need to. Because the truth is already there, settled between them. Not heavy anymore. Just present. Ethan lifts his gaze toward the horizon, where the light fades into something deeper. And for the first time, the question is no longer what happened back there. It is something else. Something quieter. When they get there, what will still be waiting for them? The road stretches longer than it should. Not because of distance, but because of what it carries. Ethan drives with both hands on the wheel, steady, controlled, the way he was trained. But there is something different in the way his shoulders sit, less rigid, more aware. Rex rests in the passenger seat, not asleep, not alert in the old way, just present, his eyes half open, tracking the horizon as it slowly darkens. The dog tag lies on the dashboard between them, catching the last thin streaks of sunlight, the carved numbers faint but still there, still pointing. Neither of them looks at it directly anymore. They do not need to. It has already done its job. The tires hum softly against the asphalt, a constant, grounding sound that fills the silence without breaking it. No music, no radio, just the rhythm of movement. Ethan exhales slowly, his gaze fixed ahead, but his mind is not drifting like it used to. It is anchored. Each mile feels intentional. Chosen. As the city fades behind them and the road narrows into something quieter, more isolated, the air changes. Cooler. Thinner. Familiar in a way that does not comfort him, but does not push him away either. Rex shifts slightly, lifting his head, his ears adjusting to something distant, something only he seems to catch. Ethan notices. Of course he does. He always notices Rex. "We are close," he says quietly, not because he sees it, but because he feels it. Rex does not respond, but his posture confirms it. The road curves, then straightens, then disappears into a stretch of land that looks unchanged by time. Sparse trees. Dry ground. A horizon that feels wider than it should. Ethan slows the truck, the engine softening as they approach a place that does not need speed. He pulls over without needing to think about it. The spot is not marked. No sign. No memory carved into the land. Just a feeling. He turns off the engine. The silence that follows is not empty. It is full. The kind that holds things. Ethan sits there for a moment, his hands still on the wheel, his breath steady but heavier now. Rex waits beside him, not moving, not rushing, just there. Always there. Ethan reaches for the dog tag, his fingers closing around it slowly, like he understands its weight now in a way he did not before. He opens the door, steps out. The ground beneath his boots is firm, dry, real. Not like the floor in the house. Not like the room. This is not memory. This is where memory came from. Rex steps out beside him, matching his pace as they move forward together, away from the road, into the open stretch of land that feels both distant and immediate at the same time. Ethan stops after a few steps. Not because he sees something. Because he knows. This is it. Or close enough to it. The place he never came back to. The place that never left him anyway. He kneels slowly, the same way he did before, but this time there is no hesitation in the movement. No confusion. Just purpose. He sets the dog tag down on the ground in front of him. Not buried. Not hidden. Just placed. His hand lingers there for a second, fingers brushing the metal one last time before pulling away. The wind moves lightly across the open space, carrying nothing but itself. No voices. No echoes. Just air. Ethan lowers his head slightly, his voice quiet, steady, not rehearsed, not forced. "I should have come back." The words settle into the ground the way the tag did. No response follows. Not from the air. Not from the earth. Not from anything visible. And somehow that is enough. Rex steps closer, pressing lightly against Ethan's side. The same steady contact, the same silent acknowledgement that has carried them through everything. Ethan's hand finds Rex again, resting against his neck, firm now, certain. No distance left. They stay like that for a moment. No rush. No urgency. Just presence. Then Ethan stands. Slowly. He does not reach for the tag again. He leaves it where it is. Not as a marker. Not as a grave. As a truth that no longer needs to be carried. Rex looks at the spot once, briefly, then turns back to Ethan. Always choosing him. They walk back toward the truck together, the same way they came, but not the same. Not anymore. Ethan pauses at the door, one hand resting on the frame, his gaze drifting back across the open land one last time. There is nothing there. No sign. No movement. Just space. And yet, something feels lighter. Not gone. Never gone. But no longer buried. He gets in. Rex follows. The engine starts again, the low hum returning, steady, grounding. As they pull away, the land behind them fades into distance, into something that no longer pulls at him the same way. The road opens again, stretching forward into the darkening sky. Ethan drives. Rex watches. And somewhere between the silence and the motion, something settles. Not closure. Not forgiveness. Something quieter. Something that does not need a name. The dog tag remains where it was placed, catching the last light until it disappears into the night. And far from the road, far from the truck, far from the man who finally came back, the wind moves once more across the ground, shifting the dust just enough to reveal a second faint impression beside where the metal rests. Not new, not old, just there, as if it had been waiting too. In this deeply emotional journey, a U.S. Marine returns home from war carrying a silence heavier than any battlefield, only to find that his loyal K-9 has been waiting with a truth he cannot outrun. This is one of those rare animal stories where memory, guilt, and loyalty collide in ways no human words can fully explain. as strange discoveries begin to unfold inside his own home. From a buried dog tag to a notebook that seems to write back, the Marine is forced to confront a past he reshaped, just to survive. Through subtle signs and unspoken understanding, the K-9 reveals that he was not only a companion in war, but a witness to the one moment that changed everything. Unlike typical animal stories, this narrative dives beyond surface-level heroism into the quiet burden of choices left unfinished. As the tension builds, the Marine realizes that the truth is not hidden somewhere far away, but carried within both of them all along. Guided by instinct and unwavering loyalty, the K-9 leads him back to a place he never had the courage to return to, where the line between memory and reality begins to blur. This is where many animal stories would offer closure, but here, the silence speaks louder than answers. The Marine must decide whether facing the truth will finally set him free or leave him with something even heavier. Through every step, the bond between man and dog becomes the only constant, a reflection of trust that never broke even when everything else did. In the end, this is not just one of many animal stories about survival, but a story about what remains when survival is no longer enough, and whether redemption is something that can ever truly be finished or simply carried forward in quiet steps beside a loyal companion character. 1. A 35-year-old white U.S. Marine, front-facing view, weathered face, short military haircut, light stubble, intense tired eyes. Wearing worn tactical jacket and dog tags, cinematic lighting, realistic texture, no cartoon, no CGI, no illustration, natural skin detail. High realism character 2. A 6-year-old German Shepherd, full body visible, strong athletic build, sable coat with black saddle. Amber eyes alert and intelligent, standing steady posture, natural fur texture, cinematic lighting, no cartoon, no CGI, no illustration, highly realistic, sharp detail. 1. A dim cinematic hallway at dusk. A German Shepherd stands, rigid in the center with tense posture, low growl visible in expression, staring into an empty shadowed corner while a faint trail of fresh dirt leads across the wooden floor. The U.S. Marine stands frozen in the doorway behind him, eyes narrowed in confusion and unease, hand gripping keys mid-motion, warm light clashing with deep shadows, strong emotional tension, hyper-realistic detail. No cartoon. No cartoon. 1. 2. A mid-shot inside a quiet kitchen. The U.S. Marine sits at a small table pouring black coffee with steady but weary hands, his white skin weathered, tired eyes staring into nothing, worn tactical jacket and dog tags resting beside him. The German Shepherd lies in the background watching him with calm but alert focus. Soft morning light through window, subtle emotional heaviness, cinematic realism. No cartoon. No cartoon. 1. 2. 3. A calm living room scene in daylight. The German Shepherd lies on the floor with full body visible, sable coat detailed, ears slightly raised, eyes fixed on the Marine, showing quiet loyalty and intelligence. The Marine stands nearby looking distracted, staring out a window, unaware of the dog's deeper awareness. Soft natural lighting, subtle tension beneath calm, realistic textures. No cartoon. No cartoon. 1. 2. 4. Inside a dim hallway at night. Both the Marine and the German Shepherd stand near a closed door, the Marine reaching cautiously toward the doorknob, face tense and focused, while the dog steps slightly in front with protective posture, ears forward, eyes locked on the door, the knob slightly turned as if moved by unseen force, strong emotional tension. And mystery, cinematic lighting. No cartoon. No cartoon. No cartoon. 1. 2. 5. A close-up of a dusty desk in a dark room. The Marine slowly opens an old notebook, his face filled with unease and disbelief, dust covering everything except the clean surface around the notebook, suggesting recent movement. The German Shepherd stands beside him staring intensely at the object, posture stiff, dim light highlighting textures, emotional curiosity rising. No cartoon. No cartoon. No cartoon. 1. 2. 6. The Marine flips through pages of the notebook, eyes widening as he notices fresh handwritten entries. His expression shifting from confusion to fear, fingers trembling slightly. The German shepherd watching closely with focused gaze, ears alert, body still. One page clearly showing a recent date, cinematic close-up lighting emphasizing tension and discovery. No cartoon, no cartoon, no cartoon. No cartoon. 1, 2, 7. A tight emotional shot of the Marine holding a worn dog tag with carved coordinates, his hand shaking subtly, face heavy with realization, eyes locked on the metal, while the German shepherd stands close beside him staring at the tag with intense recognition, posture rigid, lighting dramatic with strong contrast, emphasizing emotional weight and mystery. No cartoon, no cartoon, no cartoon. No cartoon. 1, 2. 8. The notebook lies open on the desk as new writing appears. The Marine leaning forward in disbelief, eyes wide, breath tense, his posture frozen between fear and curiosity, while the German shepherd lowers his head slightly, reacting earlier than the Marine, as if sensing unseen presence. Dim cinematic lighting, emotional escalation, hyper-realistic detail. No cartoon, no cartoon, no cartoon. No cartoon. 1, 2. 9. A low-angle cinematic shot of the Marine kneeling on the floor holding a torn piece of military fabric with initials, his face breaking with emotion, eyes filled with pain and realization, shoulders tense, while the German shepherd gently presses against his side offering silent support, strong emotional bond visible, warm and cold light contrast. No cartoon, no cartoon, no cartoon. No cartoon. 1, 2. 10. Night scene at the doorway. The Marine stands gripping the dog tag tightly, expression determined yet conflicted, staring into the darkness outside, while the German shepherd stands slightly ahead looking outward with alert posture, guiding presence. The darkness beyond feels heavy and unknown, cinematic lighting emphasizing silhouettes and tension. No cartoon, no cartoon, no cartoon. No cartoon. 1, 2.